People just love to say, you couldn't make that movie today. But is that a silly hot take or just a misunderstanding of what art is? Hola, I'm Joe Pardavila, and today I'm digging into why movies are more than entertainment. They're time capsules. Now, look, it's not that you can't or shouldn't be offended by something made 20 years ago or even 20 months ago. You're allowed to feel whatever you feel. But the idea that a particular movie couldn't be made today is ludicrous. Art is a time capsule, it's created in the vacuum of its moment. It reflects not only the sensibilities of the time, but also the tools, the limits, and perspectives available then. And that goes for all art. Let's take the Mona Lisa. It was painted in the early 1500s by Leonardo da Vinci. It's the best known, the most visited, the most written about, the most sung about, and the most parodied work of art in the world. That's what Wikipedia says. But imagine if Leonardo da Vinci was Lenny D, born 500 years later in Queens. Would we be impressed today? How many followers do you think Lenny would have on Instagram? He'd be lucky to sell a modern day Mona Lisa at a farmer's market for $100. But an oil painting from the 16th century? Priceless. Now, when it comes to movies, we tend to judge the past from today's point of view. But what if instead of just looking back, we looked even further back? Take The Godfather, released in the early 70s with an all-star cast. Marlon Brando, Al Pacino, James Caan, Diane Keaton, Robert Duvall, all legends. It was directed by Francis Ford Coppola, part of a new wave of filmmakers who changed Hollywood forever. That decade also gave us Martin Scorsese, George Lucas, Brian De Palma, and arguably the greatest director of all time, Steven Spielberg. You can read all about those cats in Peter Biskin's book, Easy Riders, Raging Bulls. Now, The Godfather came out in 72, but what if they tried to make it in 62? It never would have happened. From 1934 to 1968, there was this thing called the Hays Code, a sort of self-censorship guideline Hollywood adopted. That meant no cursing, no nudity, no sex, no drugs, and God forbid, you said God forbid. Now, can you imagine them trying to do the horse head scene in the 60s? No chance. If you've ever cringed at a classic or questioned if something aged well, drop your favorite time capsule movie in the comments. I think the best example from the you can't make that movie today brigade is Blazing Saddles from 1974. Mel Brooks's Western comedy is loaded with racial and cultural jokes that would absolutely get you canceled 15 minutes after the opening credits. But it was created as a commentary on racism using the language and attitudes of its time. Mel Brooks is one of my comedy gods, and even he has said it couldn't be made today. But that was the whole point back then. Now, let's run down a few more couldn't be made today examples. Tropic Thunder came out in 2008, just a couple years after Twitter launched. Robert Downey Jr. in a blackface. Yeah, even with the context, Elon would probably have had to unplug X, wait 30 seconds, and plug it back in because of all the outrage. There were 16 Candles from 1984. Gen Xers loved it. But the Long Duke Dong character? Ay, ay, ay. Now, The Office seems quaint, right? But entire episodes now come with disclaimers. But the thing is, Michael Scott was supposed to be an offensive idiot. That was the joke. People like that really existed. Now, for a hot minute, the You Can't Make That Movie Today became the You Can't See That Movie Today. In 2020, Gone with the Wind was taken off of HBO Max. Or was it Max or HBO Go? I think it was HBO Max. They pulled it from the platform because it was problematic for romanticizing the antebellum South and minimizing slavery. It was eventually returned with a disclaimer, but why would we ban people from looking at a artifact? I mean, our TVs, phones, and tablets, they're like what Indiana Jones said. They're museums. We can see and enjoy or not enjoy what was made before we were born. Comedy is a great example of this. Comedians are the philosophers of their time and of a time. Sam Kinison, Benny Hill, Joan Rivers probably wouldn't be as easily accepted today because of the way they viewed life. But why is it always the edgy movies or comedians that couldn't work today? How about Laurel and Hardy or The Three Stooges. They couldn't make those today either because they're terrible. I mean, they're really bad if you've ever watched them. We can all find things that make us cringe in Breakfast at Tiffany's, Ace Ventura, or even something as sweet and beloved as the TV show Friends. I saw this great line on Instagram the other day. Art doesn't need to be perfect. It needs to be honest. And honesty, that place of truth, just like culture, changes with time. Art won't always age well, but that's not the point. It's a record of how we were so we can understand how we are now. If you like this video, tap that thumbs up button. It's a small gesture, but it really helps the channel. And if you want to connect with me, go to joepardavila.com.